India's economy is running a marathon, not a sprint. And the latest economic survey? Well, that's its official progress report. So today, we're going to break down the key findings, look at what's fueling this incredible run, and really figure out what it all means. Let's dive in. First things first, let's talk about the number that's on everyone's mind, 7.4%. That's the projected real GDP growth for the 2026 financial year. And yeah, that officially makes India the world's fastest growing major economy. But what's the real story behind this incredible number? This quote from Naveen Agarwal really hits the nail on the head. Think about it. While a lot of the world economy is facing all these headwinds and fragmentation, India is actually hitting the accelerator. That difference, that divergence, is becoming a massive strategic plus. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get the big picture on the economy's speed and resilience. Then we'll look at the three big engines making it all happen. After that, we'll see how India's connecting with the world, and finally, how this all actually affects people's lives. And stick around, because we'll have a quick quiz at the end to see what you've learned. Okay, Section 1, India's fast and resilient economy. We're going beyond the headline numbers here, because the story isn't just about speed. It's about building a really stable foundation for the long run. And that 7.4%, it's not just a flash in the pan. You can see the projections for the following year are still incredibly strong, somewhere between 6.8 and 7.2%. This isn't a one-year sprint. It's about sustained momentum. It really is a marathon. And what's holding all this up? Well, it's built on some seriously solid ground. Inflation has cooled down to historic lows. The government's own finances are in better shape, which means it can pour money into things like infrastructure. And the world is taking notice. We're seeing credit agencies like S&P upgrading their outlook for the country. So where is all this growth actually coming from? The survey points to three main engines that are really powering this marathon. First up is agriculture. It's been incredibly steady and resilient. But the really cool part of the story is the growth in related sectors like livestock and fisheries. Now, why is that such a big deal? Because it means farmers have more ways to earn a living, which puts more money into rural households and, you guessed it, boosts demand across the entire country. Industry number 2, industry. We're seeing a major comeback here. Manufacturing, in particular, is really picking up steam. And a lot of that is thanks to something called the Production-Linked Incentive, or PLI schemes. Basically, the government is rewarding companies for making more stuff in India, and it's working. It's pulling in huge investments and has created over 1.2 million jobs already. But let's be honest, the undisputed champion of India's growth story is still the services sector. It's projected to grow by a whopping 9.1% this year, and its share of the whole economy, it's hit an all-time high of 56.4%. It's truly the dominant force. All right, so the domestic engines are firing on all cylinders. But how is India connecting with the rest of the planet? Let's take a look at its growing global footprint. Just think about this. In a world where there's so much economic uncertainty and trade friction, India's exports still managed to hit a record $825.3 billion last year. That's resilience. It shows just how competitive Indian goods and services are becoming out there. And when we zoom in on just services, the story gets even more impressive. In under 20 years, India has more than doubled its slice of the global pie. We've gone from just 2% back in 2005 to over 4.3% today. That's a fundamental shift. And all that rapid growth, well, it's catapulted India right into the big leagues. It's now the 7th largest exporter of services on the entire planet. That's a testament to real strengths in areas like IT and finance. But all these big numbers and economic data, what does it actually mean for the average person? That's the final piece of the puzzle, the human development story. How does this growth actually translate into a better life for citizens? And the progress here is very, very real. We're seeing huge gains in public health. The infant mortality rate has fallen by 37% in just a decade. Life expectancy has now crossed the 70-year mark. These aren't just stats. They are fundamental improvements in people's quality of life. The job market is getting stronger too. You can see the unemployment rate is trending downwards, dropping from 5.6% to 4.8% in just the back half of last year. It's a clear signal that this economic growth is creating real opportunities for people. And the survey makes it clear there's a broad investment happening in people. We've got major education reforms changing the game. Job creation is strong, We're talking about 870,000 new jobs in a single quarter. And looking forward, the potential, especially for getting more women into the workforce, is just massive. All right, you have taken in a ton of information. So let's do a quick, fun recap to make sure those key numbers stick. Let's see what you remember. First question for you. What was that big headline number for projected GDP growth in FY26? Got it? It was 7.4%. Question number 2. India's share of global services exports jumped from 2% back in 2005 to, what was it in 2024? The answer is 4.3%. And finally, do you remember the record value of India's total exports last year? Yep, it was a massive $825.3 billion. So, if you take away just one thing from all this, it should be this. The economic survey paints a clear picture of an economy that isn't just growing fast. It's also stable, it's got real momentum, and it's becoming incredibly resilient to whatever the world throws at it. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. We've called this an economic marathon. So as India keeps up this amazing pace, the real question becomes, what reforms, what investments are going to be the most critical to keep that 7+% growth going for the next 10 years? Something to chew on.